What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall markets. I'm going to break down why Tesla and the IWM are looking really nice, in my personal opinion. Not to mention more updates involving SPY, the QQQ, and the others. But let me just mention that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And don't forget to smash the like button. Anyways, Tesla's looking very nice on the daily and 4-hour time frames, breaking past this resistance. And we're going to be watching some very, very key levels from this point on. So I'm going to break down what the levels are and how things are looking, in my opinion, for Tesla. Let's first talk about next week for a bit, and then I'll talk about the charts. So for Monday, we just have Waller giving a speech and then some bill auctions coming out. For Tuesday, we have a bunch of Fed speakers, nothing too crazy. For Wednesday of next week, we basically have some crude oil data coming out. It's nothing too crazy. And then we have the FOMC minutes. So that's going to be very important. This is going to cause a very, very big move because they'll give us more insights on what different Fed speakers said about FOMC, Fed officials, Fed speakers, and Fed members. So that's going to be very important. There's going to be a big move most likely on Wednesday once this comes out. So get ready for that. For Thursday, I just want to mention that we have some more important stuff. We have jobs numbers coming out. Then we have this very important data. We have the S&P Global Composite Manufacturing PMI reports. This will give us a good taste of how the economy is looking for these different sectors. So this is going to be important for Thursday. And then finally, for Friday, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. We know when the guy talks, the whole market shakes. So get ready for that as well. So we have a lot coming out Wednesday through Friday of next week, but Monday and Tuesday will be more minor. So keep that in the back of your guys' minds. This is going to be your important reminder and your heads up. Now, for earnings, let's just go over this real quick. I just want to remind you all that there's not really much coming out for Monday. But for Tuesday through Thursday, we have a lot of retail coming out. On Tuesday, we have Lowe's announcing earnings, then other stocks like Xpong. And then we have a few more, such as like Lazy Boy and a few others. And then for Wednesday, we have Target, Macy's, and TJ Maxx announcing their earnings. After the market closes, we have Snow and Zoom. And then for Thursday, we have Peloton, and not to mention a few more like Ross later on in Red Robin. So get ready for a lot of earnings coming out, especially for retail, restaurants, and such. This is going to be very important, so I can't wait to see how these look. And two more things before I get to the charts. Just know that right now the market's expecting a 72.5% chance of the Fed giving us a 25 basis point cut. It goes up to about 50 basis points. At least the probability goes down, to about 27.5%. So we're not really anticipating that as highly as before. This is going to depend on a lot of data. I think this shifted a lot after CPI came out because CPI it wasn't that great. It wasn't necessarily like super great or super bad. It was kind of in the middle. Everything was just aligned with expectations. Some things did go up a little bit on a month over month basis, but that was aligned with expectations. So that's part of why I think things are shifting a bit. But I want to warn you, this is going to shift like crazy depending on the FOMC minutes, depending on Jerome Powell's speech. So there's going to be a lot of catalysts coming up from Wednesday through Friday, which will affect the whole markets. And then as far as Tesla goes, there's been a lot of talk about their cheaper interior. I'm seeing this all over the news. I went over this in more detail in my earlier video, so I'm not really too worried about that. For now, I'm just going to focus on the charts. So what do I see for this? Honestly, guys, Tesla looks very bullish going into next week. As long as there's no bad news, we do favor upside. I'm going to be looking at 220's resistance. If that breaks, look at 222, 225, and then 230. We also have this big gap to fill. So if we end up breaking 233 around this range right here, we could even fill this gap all the way up to like the 240s. So we look really nice right now. But I do anticipate that we're going to get close to 230. I think that's very probable over the next couple of weeks. And I think that for next week specifically, we'll see if we get a little dip first and then continue higher, or if we just push from here. It's got to be one of those two most likely. I would love to see us dip a bit just for another good entry opportunity before it continues higher. But if it doesn't dip, it is what it is, guys. We had the opportunity today during the dip, and it's still looking bullish. Now, if we were to sink, and let's just say there is bad news, 212 is going to be key. That's our 20 EMA alongside 210. But I think that as long as we're above at least 210, we do favor the upside direction, and we'll see if that holds. But so far, Tesla's doing a good job. So either we dip a little bit, then we continue higher, or we just continue from here. But ultimately, the chart looks bullish. The weekly is also going to be very important. We look quite nice on the weekly. I'll talk more about the bigger time frames in my video for tomorrow. We look very, very nice on Tesla, and we still favor the upside. My second favorite chart is, so my favorite right now is Tesla. I'm going to be prioritizing this for next week when I trade. I like the setup. That's why I'm going to look at this. And then I also really like the IWM. I think this is looking very nice as well. It looks very similar to Tesla. But what's good about this is the fact that we have a bullish wedge breakout, and then we have a very, very nice amount of technicals developing. So the 4 hour looks nice, firstly. The daily looks really nice as well. I just want to say that when you look at the way things are looking, our MACD is about to get a bullish cross in the PPO. The daily is looking better, and we have this big gap to fill, so that's a good sign. 260 would be our targets. That's pretty much a very, very nice move. And then there's an imbalance up here that would take us all the way up to about 223. So a lot of things would push this higher. That depends though on if the market holds up. If we hold above 210, as long as we hold that, I am favoring that 216 price target at the very least. And then this range right here, 216 is about the 224, 225 area. That would also bring us higher if we do break that 216 range. That would take us all the way up to about 225. So we look really nice. This looks really nice to me. Now I'm always very careful. I have my stops and such ready just in case. But as long as we're above that 210 area, we're looking pretty nice right now, in my opinion. I think that this is favoring upside. So I'm not going to go into the full details about anything today. I'm just going to be very blunt and kind of concise. Looking at SPY, we look nice, we look bullish. Higher highs and higher lows are being made, but there's a problem. The problem is we're hitting some tough resistance between, I would say it's between 555 and 556 because we've rejected on 556 in the past and we also did around 555. So we just have to see how SPY reacts here. I mean, I can't really promise anything. I think we're going to go a little higher. We might get close to the 555 to 556 area, and we'll see if that breaks. If we break that 556 area, we're going up to 558, and eventually the gap fills into the 560s. If we reject, we're going to be coming back down to 552. If 552 fails us, look at 549.5. That's going to be critical support. If 549.5 breaks, we have this big gap to fill. So we'll see. But either way, I think the chart's very bullish. Whether it's they just squeeze things to all-time highs, or if we are forming an inverse head and shoulders, where this is like our left shoulder here, this is the head down here, and then we're going to come down from a right shoulder and continue higher. I don't know which one it's going to be. I just want to say we still look bullish on these charts. So watch how things develop, at least from here. On ES, you have a nice inverse head and shoulders as well. There's the left shoulder here. There's the head and a potential right shoulder forming for us to push higher. We look nice, so we'll see how things go. If we break 5,600, this could push even higher towards these higher levels. If you reject here, look for a little bit of a dip. It really depends on how we react to 5,600. I think we might go a little higher towards that, but we'll see. I mean, I honestly can't promise anything about this. It's very tricky because we look bullish right now. We're clearly bullish. The chart's continuing to squeeze, but the resistance is going to be very tough. So we'll have to watch for a big test to see if it breaks. And that's honestly the best thing I could tell you. It depends on if we break resistance or not. Same thing on SPX. We're approaching 5560, that entire range. If that breaks, this is going to push SPY higher as well. If not, if it doesn't break, we could come down to fill the gap and then form an inverse head and shoulders instead. I mean, I'd have to watch this in real time. Same thing with Nvidia. I'd have to watch if we break resistance around this 125 area. But I personally think that this is greatly favoring upside. We look really strong right now, and it might try to fill this gap. We're very close to this gap fill around 126. If that breaks, our next target is 129 to 130, then eventually 135 is coming. But I just want to say Nvidia looks bullish right now, just temporarily. To turn bearish, you want to see it lose 121.5, then yes, we will retrace. But this is greatly favoring upside. Bitcoin is not looking that great. We have tough resistance around 59,400 and also at 60,300. We haven't been able to crack those resistances. Also notice that for the last week, it's been hovering below its 20 EMA. It's been struggling to break resistance. So I think it's going to push a bit next week, but we're still likely going to get stopped by the 60,000 area, our 20 EMA. So Bitcoin's a little bit lackluster for now. For a few more, we have QQQ, looks bullish, looks very bullish to me, but we have tough resistance. So it's like it's trying to push higher, but we're going to see if it could break this resistance or not at 476 or 475. If 475 breaks, we could fill the gap up towards 480. If not, I'd be looking at 472. And if that fills us, we have this gap support at 468, which if that breaks, 464 is coming. The chart looks like it wants to go higher, but I can't promise that until I see this resistance break. We haven't truly broken 475 yet. We can't make that call. We have to be patient. So this is one of those situations where you have to be patient. I know it may annoy people when I say that, but honestly, guys, it's a part of trading. Sometimes you have to be very patient and give the market time to do its thing. So that's what I'm going to do in this one. Apple looks bullish. It looks like it wants to go higher, but it's at this tough resistance near 226. It still hasn't broken this key level. I do see potential for 227.75 if that breaks, followed by this gap resistance at 230, and then the gap fill above that. But if we lose 225, look for the gap fill below towards 222. So we're kind of in the middle on Apple. We do look more bullish, but resistance is going to be tough, just like that of SPY and the QQQ. So we'll see, but it does still look bullish nonetheless. That's not necessarily changing. For a few more, SoFi looks pretty good. Looks nice on the daily. We're above 7. As long as we hold above 7, we're going to fill this gap most likely around 7.16. If we lose a 6.92, look for 6.85, but this still favors upside. For Amazon, Amazon's pushing up very nicely. If we lose 175, we'll be dipping back down to fill this gap towards 172. And as long as we hold above this, we'll be looking for 180. I think that Amazon could actually hit 180, if not try to fill this gap entirely towards 184. But just know 177 is kind of tough. It's tough because it's very simple. Look at where this line is right here. See this line right here, this blue dotted line? That's where we currently are. That's previous resistance or previous support becoming resistance, excuse me. But we still look bullish. I'm going to go over just a few more. Meta is dipping a bit. It might dip towards 525, maybe go a little bit lower. I could be seeing potentially 520 if 525 fails us, and that gap fill down to like 516. It might dip a little bit, but then we'll see if it bounces or not. Microsoft, same thing. We're looking at 418 as supports. If this fails us, I'll be looking for this gap fill down here at 416. We'll see if this holds or if we bounce. So give that some time. And then Google is doing a good job. The daily is looking decent, but I want to say this. I got to see this thing break 166 to really start pushing for 168. And if we don't break that, I'd be looking for 162 as support. Look at 166. If that breaks, 168 is coming. So we'll see if it could break. It does favor that it wants to go a little higher, but I'm just going to be mindful of the fact that it hasn't broken key resistance. So just like SPY and the QQQ, it's been trying to push, but it hasn't broken key resistance yet. So we just have to wait on this as well. With that being said, like I said before, guys, I like to prioritize better charts. I really like Tesla and I really like the IWM. I'll be watching those very carefully going into next week. So, with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate you guys for your attention. Please enjoy the weekend that's coming up. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your day, night, or evening, wherever you guys are. And I'll be back tomorrow for another update on Tesla. I'll be talking about the bigger time frames. And then on Sunday, I'll be back to talk about um, what's happening with the market in a more meticulous manner. So I'll break down all the charts, give you all the details on Sunday. All right, so look out for my video tomorrow. I'll be breaking down some important things about Tesla and the bigger time frames, and then I will give you guys more insights as time goes on. So enjoy the weekend, guys. I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow, and peace out.